Thank you very much for staying with us. Nigeria's Senator Ike Ekweremadu and his wife Beatrice have been convicted by organ trafficking in the United Kingdom. Ekweremadu, a former Nigerian Deputy Senate President, with his wife and their Dr Obinna Obeta, was found culpable of violating the Modern Slavery Act. The court found the trio guilty of facilitating the travel of a young man to Britain with a view to his exploitation after a 6-week trial at the Old Bailey. The jury found they criminally conspired to bring the 21-year-old Lagos street trader to London to exploit him of his kidney, and the judge, Justice Jeremiah Johnson, will pass a sentence at a later date. The court heard that the organ donor had been offered an illegal reward to become a donor for the senator's daughter after kidney disease forced her to drop out of a master's degree in film at Newcastle University. Metropolitan Police in June 2022 said that Beatrice Nwaneka Ekweremadu and Ike Ekweremadu, who are 55 and 60 years old respectively, have been remanded in custody and were arraigned at Oxbridge Magistrate Court. The Federal Executive Council on Wednesday approved a sum of 453.90 billion naira for the procurement of rolling stock, operation and maintenance equipment for the Kano-Maradi standard gauge rail line currently under construction. The amount also includes 510.93 million naira meant for procuring 4 customized fire service, search and rescue vans in Seaport at Port Harcourt, Lagos, Port Harcourt Complex, Tinkan Island Port, and the maritime headquarters of the Nigerian Port Authorities. The Minister of Transportation, Muazu Sambo, disclosed this to State House correspondents after this week's council meeting chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. Also speaking was the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Mohammed Abubakar, who said his ministry secured the account approval for a revised 2022 National Agriculture Seed Policy Memo. He explained that the revision seeks to conform with global best practices in yield, as farmers should have access to the best quality seed that have been fortified and can compete in the world market. The Federal Account Allocation Committee says it shared 722.677 billion naira among the 3 tiers of government for February 2023. The figure represents a further decrease of 27.493 billion naira compared to 750.17 billion naira shared in January. The committee disclosed this in a communique issued at the end of its latest meeting in Abuja on Wednesday. The total amount includes gross statutory revenue, value-added tax, electronic money transfer levies, and augmentation from forex equalization accounts. The communique explained that the federal government received 269.063 billion naira, state received 236.464 billion, the local government got 173.936 billion naira, while the oil producing state received 43.214 billion naira as derivation, which is 13% of mineral revenue. It was also noted that the gross revenue available from the value-added tax for February 2023 was 240.799 billion naira as against 250.51 billion naira distributed in the preceding month, which represents a decrease of 9.72 billion naira. President Muhammadu Buhari has signed 2 bills recently passed by the National Assembly into law. The Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters, JOS Act 2023, repeals the Federal Schools of Medical Laboratory Science JOS establishment, Act 2018, to make the institution more effective in the discharge of its functions by strengthening the organization framework and to bring its provision to expand the scope of the anti-narcotic agency to issue licenses for cultivation, sale, and the use of marijuana. The legislation was titled A Bill for an Act to Amend the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Act Cap N30, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to conform additional responsibility of the power to grant and revoke licenses for the cultivation of cannabis or any of its 3 species, namely cannabis sativa, cannabis indica, and cannabis rhodalisi, plants for medicinal purposes and for related matters. However, when the bill was up for second reading at the plenary on Wednesday, another member of the House, Miriam Onoha, Nigeria's President-elect Bola Tinubu, has traveled to France and the United Kingdom to rest and plan the transition program ahead of his inauguration on 29 May. Tunde Rahman, the spokesperson for Mr. Tinubu, in a statement on Wednesday, said the President-elect had left the country on Tuesday. According to Mr. Rahman, the President-elect will later observe Hajj in Saudi Arabia. Mr. Rahman said the President-elect
for the people of Oyo State, by the people of Oyo State, for the progress of Oyo State.
He's a man that really means well. I meant well for Oyo State. Even despite all the blackmailing and gang up and some other things, he still came out victorious. And if you look at that result, compared with the result of the National Assembly election, you know that the performance of Governor Makinde actually accounted for nothing less than 50 or 60% of the total vote. And that shows that it's always good to be good.
The Abia State Governor-elect Alex Oti has disclosed that payment of salaries will be his priority once he gets into office on May 29th. Oti, who said that there is no problem in taking loans, but the problem is that the loans are used for as payment of salaries in his priority. He noted that he would appoint a team that would help him in his administration very soon. The United Nations Children Emergency Fund on Wednesday said about 2/3 of the population of citizens in Nigeria lack access to potable water. Nigeria has an estimated population of about 200 million, as 2/3 of its figure represent over 133 million persons without access to potable water across the country. Speaking at the press briefing in Abuja to commemorate the 2023 World Water Day, the Chief of Water, Sanitation and Hygiene, UNICEF, Jane Bevan, stated that though the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and states were investing in water, the sustainability of these investments had remained a major challenge. She called for adequate improvement in investments, stressing that the lack of equal access to water had huge implications for Nigeria. She said UNICEF is working in terms of sanitation because of the children that suffer the most. On his part, the Natural Resources and Environment Specialist of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, Sheyi Fabi, said water was critical to the mandate of the organization. He said 72% of freshwater withdrawal was being used in the agricultural sector, adding that the food system depended critically on water resources and that these should be effectively managed.